Hello everyone and welcome to Unicorn Light Tarot. Sincerely hope everybody is doing amazingly well today, and if not, we're here for a little bit extra support and love. We're going to send it your way today and every day that you need a little extra love and support. So today we are meeting up and doing another reading. If you are brand new here, welcome, thumbs up. And if you are returning, of course, welcome to everyone. So today we are doing messages from the House of Night Oracle, and we are discovering what is hidden will be revealed. So even though this is a timeless reading, and I genuinely believe with timeless readings that you are guided to them and they come to you when you are ready and when the time is right. But we are also on the precipice of a very important full moon that's coming in next Monday or Tuesday. And it will be a full moon in Scorpio. So there's a lot that's coming up for people in the collective right now. Scorpio is a beautiful, intense sign, but it's all about digging deep with Scorpio and bringing everything up. Nothing's off topic with Scorpio. So for this full moon to move forward in your true power, a lot of old stuff could be coming up. Just a lot of things in the collective just being dragged to the top. So we thought we would work here with the House of the Night Oracle and anything that's in your subconscious. And of course, we're coming from a place of the subconscious. We actually act from our subconscious far more than we do from our conscious selves. So if we bring everything from the subconscious into your consciousness, then it doesn't rule us. So whatever is hidden will be revealed. Whatever is subconscious will be revealed today in this reading. And if, like we said, if stuff has been coming up for you, then maybe it'll give you some clarity as to where it fits or what's going on and give you some help. We always try to give you some practical help. Any kind of assistance that we can give you that's just beyond the regular tarot, any kind of healing or activation or any practical grounded advice, nothing woo-woo, that will help you sort of ground into this energy and be able to use this practical advice and apply it to your life, and move forward, make this transition a little easier for you. Or if you're in the mood of really enjoying the Scorpio, I have a Scorpio ascendant, so I'm used to this energy, but it can be a little overwhelming for others. So we're here for you no matter what. As always, if you've been here before, we have our candle today is always dressed with magic oil for abundance and beauty. So you're always welcome to release into the flame what you no longer need, or bring in the energy of abundance and healing. And just recently on the community page of Unicorn Light Tarot, we did collective healing candle magic. You're welcome to go back into that page on the community tab and add your name and whatever it is that you want to heal. Wealth healing, whatever wealth means to you. For a lot of people, wealth means actual physical healing. So lots of different ways to work with this energy. So we also have 3 piles as always, and with the candle magic theme that has been absolutely with me all week, we decided to extend it to this reading. So we have the candle magic card, pile number 1, and these are your messages from the House of Night Oracle. These are the House of Night Oracle, beautiful cards. So red for passion, beauty, vitality. We have our second pile here, and it's also yellow for communication. That could be communication within the earth realm, or communication between you and your spirit guides. Honesty, communication, the way in which you speak, speaking your truth. And then we have honor, valor, healing for the blue candle magic, pile 3. So as always, take as much time as you absolutely need. Go ahead and pause the video if you need to. We're going to take in a deep breath and just exhale slowly. And if you can, come right into the moment. Just leave all of your worries behind while we do this reading. The more aligned you are with this energy, the more that you'll get out of it. So if you need to go ahead and pause the video. The timestamps will be down below as always. Don't rush this part. There may be several different reasons why you would be pulled to each pile, so really sit with it and see which one is calling to you. And if more than one calls to you, then as we always say here, go with your intuition. It absolutely works. It'll send you in the right direction for sure. So let's go ahead and move these aside for now. All right, beautiful pile one. If you went ahead and chose pile one, then this is your pile two. And I encourage you also, if you're at all into candle magic, go ahead, and if you have a red candle, you can go ahead and use your red candle too. This is what I did over the week in the community tab. You can carve in any symbols or sigils or even words to add to your candle magic. And it's always advisable to have a candle that can burn down within an hour or so, because you want to be in and around that energy. But it doesn't have to be. There's no fast or hard rules to any of this. To add a little bit of extra magic to the messages that are coming today, that's something that you can do, but don't feel as though you need to. So again, messages from the House of Night Oracle. What is hidden will be revealed. So we're going to start here, see what we have. So we have focus, and we have the moon. If you can see these, yeah, they're pretty clear, really beautiful here. So let's see what we have here. Also going to pull one tarot for now and sit with the messages that I'm getting for you, that we're getting for you. Pile one. Let's see what we have with our tarot. Beautiful. Temperance, absolutely. So the one message that came through very clearly for you, which is why I waited to get you your tarot card in order to clarify, is that you're being asked to sort of take a step back, pile one, and see everything, not necessarily from the height and the objectivity, but see everything as its moving parts, as one and the same, everything working together, sort of pumping blood as a body, instead of separate parts here and there. So yeah, definitely being asked to step back and see everything. For some of you, you're focusing in on certain aspects of your life, and while sometimes this is wonderful as we look back and we see the thread through our lives, and we actually get to the point where we can unravel something absolutely huge, and as we unravel that one aspect of what we've been going through, it absolutely infiltrates and integrates into every part of our world and changes who we are. There's nothing wrong with that. That's a wonderful way of doing things. You are being asked in this way to do the exact opposite, actually, is to not concentrate on one aspect of your life, but to take a complete step back, but do it in an active role. Sometimes it's great to look at everything from an objective viewpoint, where you're not necessarily getting involved per se, but you're seeing everything sort of from a higher perspective and allowing everything to come in, sort of like breathing in and out, and allowing the energy to sort of move through you the way that it needs to, and in that way it cleanses out the old. This is a little bit different, but it's got elements of that. You're being asked to sort of step back and sort of witness everything as it happens, and see all of your healing, everything that you've been through, every single person and situation and experience that you've experienced and allowed into your sort of inner memory, as sort of the way in which sort of a heartbeat. everything works together, everything comes together. And if one experience hadn't happened, then that heartbeat would skip a little bit differently, would beat a little bit differently. And coming into the memory of it, if this all makes sense. So it all moves sort of like in a dance move. It's kind of weird the way it's been shown to me. So I'm trying to articulate as clearly as I can. Sort of in this sort of free flowing dance move as you move forward, seeing every aspect of your life fall into place without having to make amends, without having to do any of that work necessarily of healing anything, just allowing everything to be and fall into place, to see what that looks like, to see what that feels like. In that, the focus comes from the smaller elements that need to be done, to be focused on, to be pulled apart so we can do that deep healing. The focus then becomes on sort of the collective aspects of yourself, and the collective aspects in the collective. So you're being asked to make peace with aspects of the collective that have been difficult for you, and we totally understand why that would be that. And then have that reflect on the collective being that is you, that is your person, that is your identity, but at the same time moving away from a sense of identity. So having that patience with yourself to be able to just look upon every aspect of your life without pulling it apart, without the need to fix it, without the need for, quote unquote, healing. Because of course, the minute we say we need healing, we're saying there's something wrong. So coming out of that into this true acceptance of exactly where you are, allowing everything to fall into place, giving yourself that space across sort of time and space with everything that you've been through. And this could include, for those of you who have been working in sort of past lives and even parallel dimensions, like different aspects of yourself as you sort of touch different versions of yourself, and you come in clearer as to what the version is of yourself that you want to move into, and get a real clear version of it. And some of it's coming into your current reality, sort of accepting exactly where you are, and that overthought, that overseeing of everything, and allowing everything to be as it is. And at the same time, looking out into the collective and accepting the collective for what it is. Now, this can be very, very difficult because there's so much that's going on. There's so much darkness in the collective in some ways. There's also a lot of beauty, but there's also a lot of darkness that's always been there, but it's been accumulating and it's been brought to the surface. And we've seen this in the last couple of years, particularly last year. So it's come into our consciousness, and it's very difficult to understand why this is happening, how people can be so cruel, X, Y, and Z. And then, of course, that energy filters into our own space of, this world that we're living in, I don't understand it, I don't understand it. Now, we're not asking you to understand per se. There's some... again, as you try to understand it, you're getting into needing to pull it apart, needing to make sense of it. And in many ways, there's no way to make sense of it. It's about giving yourself the space to accept that it exists. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't have boundaries and then say, I'm not, I don't want this in my world. I can choose differently. I don't want to be like this. I want to change the world. I can do it on my own terms. Absolutely. But accept where everybody is. And accept, as you sort of throw the stones on the floor, that's accepting exactly where they land. And then bringing that sense of peace, that sense of sort of objectivity back into your life. Now, in this way, as you move forward and as you start to adopt this understanding, through this understanding of peace and this grounding, you build this really firm foundation to your own power. Your own power is being sort of, the word I'm getting is corrupted, and it seems like a very intense word, and it's not a word that I would have chosen, but this is the reason why. Just to give you an example so you see how it's working. As you don't understand the external world, you bring that energy into your world, and what it does, it infiltrates your world and it infiltrates your peace, and then it sort of it stops you being in that peaceful realm where you can exact the kind of change that you want to in yourself and put that energy out into the world. So it's sort of stopping you, sort of blocking you doing that. So that's why that word was used. This is a way that you can gain your power back and gain, more importantly, pile one, gain your peace back. Now, there's a way in which to work with the darkness here, one way or another. But it's not to engage in it. Now, there's certain times in your life where you needed to engage in it. You needed to dig deep in order to move through it. But this is not the time for you necessarily to do that. You've done a lot of work of digging deep. This is for you to accept and move through and understand what it is to take that heavy load off, put it down, and really come into your own power to really see what you can do on your own terms when you're not being influenced or dragged down by the external. That's where the temperance comes in. But you look here, she has her alchemy, she has her power, she has her strength, she has her magic, and she has everything that she needs from the third eye, working her own magic. And her magic is far more powerful when it's not infiltrated from the external. So, and that comes from a level of knowing where you are, a level of knowing that it exists, certainly. And we're not saying, this blind eye to things that don't happen. That's not it. But accepting it for what it is. It exists. It doesn't mean that you're okay with it. It just means that you have more power to come back into you to change those modes of existence and giving you your power back. Now, the fact that you've gotten the moon and you're being told to focus on the energy of the moon here, you have a lot of power. And you've also, for some of you, maybe even most of you, you know what it is to work within the darkness. So being asked to sort of step outside of the darkness and, to put it quite bluntly, to work within the light now. As we work within the light, you've worked so clearly through the darkness. As you're being asked to pull in the light actually will help you shine the light and disperse that darkness that is left. So this is something that you can do, that's sort of underlying here, that you can do to come back into your power in a way, and also come back into, let's see, I'm going to also change this out as we're doing this. I have another dressed candle ready to go. But also it's a way for you to come out of sort of a fragmented mode and into a cohesive mode where you are your point in power at every, if you imagine a star, you're in the middle of that star and you're at each point of every star. So it's nothing to do with the ego coming into the middle of who you are and controlling your world, but it's a way that all of your energy that is free to be exactly what it's supposed to be, free to be open and honest and beautiful, and existing within the core of who you are and at each point of your life. And again, this is about bringing back not just the healing. This reading is about bringing back peace. When you take it upon the energy of the external, there's not a lot of peace there. Now, we want to be really clear. There is a time to be angry. There is a time to fight. There is a time to do all of that stuff. Absolutely. This is your time to step back and incorporate who you are, so you can get back in touch with yourself, and you'll know the time to fight. You'll know the time to step up. And this is the way that you can step up too, but like an actual physical step up. This is not a passive role that we're asking you to move into. This is far from passive. The way in which you were working before actually took away your energy and your peace. This is you coming into the full frontal of who you're supposed to be. And from that power, you can use your alchemy in any way that you want, in any direction. Because again, you're in the middle of that beautiful star and then that pentacle. And then each point, you can move your energy out and help others in that way. And then when you choose to be even more active with fighting, with speaking up, with this, that, and the other, there's much more power behind you, because all of your power is yours. It's sourced by you. It's not infiltrated or compromised by what you see on the external. And again, we're not asking you to ignore what's going on. There is immense beauty and gorgeousness in the world, but there is heaviness, and there is beyond drama. There's ignorance. There's a lot of darkness that is there. But without the darkness, we wouldn't be able to see the light. So this is a new way for you to move forward with your energy. And if this is something that you've been working with and being your energy has been depleted, or there's not been a lot of peace for some of you, sleep patterns have been disrupted, or just a general sort of sense of disheartening, this may be able to change that, to shift that. And again, this is just about a small shift in perception as you move forward. Again, we want to remind you that you've done a lot of this work, this really, really intricate work already. So the way in which you can really work with the intricate work of healing, of digging deep, is to really allow yourself to come out and see it this way, the way in which we've been talking about, and allow that peace to infiltrate every aspect of your cells, all aspect of your being. And from there, there's true clarity coming in for you. And again, true power to move forward in the world the way that you want to, and make the changes that are due in this world and that you were here to make. So this is absolutely a way for you to bring balance. And an aspect of temperance is bringing balance back, but it's also working with your magic to be able to do that. So this is a way for you to bring your balance back. In a way, this reading is about what is hidden is being revealed. For you, it's kind of the opposite. What has been hidden for you, you've gone for and extracted and worked through. So this is sort of a reading that's on its sort of back, something a little bit different for you. Now that you've done that work, where you're being asked to pull back from it, integrate from that energy completely, and come at it again from a place of peace. Almost, I keep getting the word indulgence. Want you to not take on absolutely everything, but integrate into your own energy and come from a place of joy too, because that's as alchemist as you are and as sensitive as you are, this is a way that you can move forward. And this is a way that you can bring back that joy and peace. And from there, there's so much alchemy. There's so much power from that to change the world at large. Absolutely. And it's not all just up to you. Absolutely. And the other thing that I wanted to say too, is that the mission that you're here for has really become very clear for you, without a shadow of a doubt. So that hunger to be of use, that hunger to step into that power has been fueling you moving forward, which is why it's giving you the self-confidence and the oomph to get down into what you've needed to do to excavate all of the darkness that was within you, and of course that we see mirrored in the world. So of course that hunger has been driving you, that passion. Not surprised that you picked the beautiful red, that passion, that desire to be of use, but you're being asked to understand that you can be of more use when you are in your full alignment of power, when you're coming from a sense of peace, not coming from, and then you can still work within changing, moving, bringing to justice what needs to happen. But sometimes when you're coming at it from a place of sort of, again, infiltrating from the outside, then, our power can be lost somewhat. It can be lost in the voices that are out there and the voices that are in our head. True power is clear. It has that clarity, and coming back into your clarity from peace and joy, you can do far more for it. And again, when that time is to step up and to fight, to get out there, to do what you need to do, because there's an aspect of you that is supposed to sort of subvert what we've considered the norm, which is not the norm. It's what we put up with in society. It's hurt and killed others, and that's not what we're here to do. We're here to come back and, if we can, bring back humility, bring back humanity. That is not a small feat. And the way in which you've been doing it is creative and full of courage and full of beauty. But this is the last way that you can bring it home and be of use to the world in a very, very dramatic and beautiful way. And also not sort of pull yourself under, not get overwhelmed, not burn yourself out. Don't want you to burn yourself out. And also want to make sure, I'm getting excited. Also want to make sure that all of your beautiful energy and all of the work that you've done on yourself can really have the clarity that it needs to move forward and have that powerful momentum in the world. And that's what you're building: momentum, momentum, momentum. And this will bring your energy home. So this was more sort of a psychological reading, which I'm not surprised based on the energy that we're working with today. So we're going to leave off here with the Star Seeds deck and see what we have for you. So we hope we brought you a little bit of clarity as to what is working in and around you, this energy, and how you can move forward and bring back that beautiful joy. Earth Guide, your sacred calling upon this planet, it's to simply love and be loved. That's wonderful. And that's really what this is all about, bringing you back to love. Bringing you back to that sense of love, that sense of joy, that sense of beauty. And coming from that, you are extremely powerful. That's not to say that the work that you've done with Shadow Self, the work that you've done excavating, going deep and getting that all, and really working within that, I mean, obviously that makes you even more powerful. But now it's time to come back to light. It's time to come back to love. And that's how you fully integrate each aspect of yourself as you do this. And as the light shines on all of the darkness that you've pulled up, you'll see that the way in which you see the external will shift and change. And your sense of power and clarity will come back, and you'll feel more powerful. You'll feel much more in touch with your intuition. When we have so much going on, we always say, listen to your intuition. But what if your intuition isn't guiding you in that way? What if trauma is still coming up and influencing you in one way or another, and we're still, one foot in survival and one foot in moving forward? When we have one foot in survival, your intuition sometimes works with your head, with the ego, and that wants to keep you safe. Not really interested in thriving. It wants to keep you safe. It's in survival mode. And at times, that's the way that you've needed to be. You've needed to be in survival mode. You've needed to protect. So this is a way for you to come out of that old way of thinking and step into the light. And as that light moves forward, it actually shines the light on all of the darkness that you've raked up and all of the darkness that you've worked through. And that's the way that you see the objectivity, and that's the way that you can integrate fully and move forward in this sort of light-filled way, and also get your peace back. We want you to have peace and joy and be connected from that. This world is not just about working through things constantly, healing, working through things. Yes, we are always working on stuff. We're always learning. We're always moving forward. But the past of what you've been through, the drama of what you've been through, you've done most of that healing now. Allow the way in which you heal now to be more sort of not authentic necessarily, but to more sort of more natural moving forward in that path, so it doesn't take up so much of this time. It can be peaceful and joyful, and we don't even have to use the word healing. It's growing. So get that joy, that clarity, and that light back, pile one. So those are the messages that we have for you, my darlings. Hope it resonated with you, and hope we gave you a little bit of perspective there with everything that's going on. And again, if you don't get to this reading right away, this is a timeless reading, even though we're reading from the collective and this full moon coming up in Scorpio, it should still resonate. And again, as a reminder, please use, if you need to go back and listen to the reading again, then use this beautiful candle for healing any way that you want. And you can definitely adorn your red candle or any candle that you have that you want to work with candle magic, just to bring you back into that peace and joy for a little extra vavoom for this reading. Sending you so much love and light. Stay safe and sane, Pile One. So much beauty ahead of you, so much beauty for you now. Sending you so much peace that you absolutely deserve. Until we meet again, take care. Bye. Okay, beautiful Pile Twos. This is your reading. Do not forget we have our healing candle here that you can use as an activator for healing on your own terms. And as suggested, we have the candle magic here. So this is your pile 2 for communication, any type of communication too. And that could be creative communication too, for those of you who are writing or even journaling and trying to make sense of your life, what it is that's going on, pouring out of emotions, whatever it is that you're using communication for. So again, if you want to, you can adorn your candle, and if you have a yellow candle or any candle at home, to activate this reading further and bring in your energy. The full moon is a beautiful time for doing candle magic. That's just an extra. So we are doing messages from the House of Night Oracle, which is this oracle, and what is hidden will be revealed. So let's check in with what we have here. Listening is your first card here, and risk. Absolutely beautiful. All right, so there's an essence of balance that's coming in for you here, pile 1. So for a lot of you, it's not that you've not taken risks at all. It's more that you've driven yourself to a certain point where you know, the risk is inevitable and you're definitely going to take that risk. You've done that. What you're being asked to do is to listen to your intuition and listen to what is trying to be revealed to you right now. And what is trying to be revealed is that it's time to take a risk. But this could be a kind of a scary momentum for you, because for a lot of you, when you take those risks, like we said, you know, they're kind of big things. All right, I'm moving now, I'm going to school, I'm doing this. They're kind of big decisions that you make. But there's a ton of sort of things in your environment that would push you in order to make that sort of big move, one way or another. So yeah, it is a big risk. And when people look at your life, they go, I can't believe that you did that. That was kind of amazing. That must have taken a lot of guts, this, that, and the other. And absolutely, it did take you a lot of guts, and you did do it, and that's wonderful. You're being asked to take these smaller risks now that you may not necessarily be used to. Like you said, like we've said, when you take the risk, you're being sort of pushed on the precipice anyway, and then you do something large, and it always works out, because when you put yourself in those positions, you know, they're sort of extreme positions, and they have to work out because all of your energy is behind them. So even if you have some bumps along the road, it always has to work out because all of your energy has gone into that one risk. You're jumping into that jump. What you're being asked to do is to create a world, create a life that has a series of smaller risks, where you don't have to be pumped and prodded in order to get there, but you're taking those risks to put yourself out there. One, for some of you, it's the risk of opening up your heart to somebody new, getting that message loud and clear. But the message here is what is hidden is being revealed. What is hidden that's being revealed is it's time for you to take these small risks. So if you're at the point where you're like, I feel as though I want a little bit of a change. I feel as though I want to go, for some of you, it's this business idea that you have. You want to go full-fledged. It was part-time. It's working for yourself, whatever it is it's doing, or incorporating your energy, what it is that you feel as though you're supposed to be doing in this lifetime, and actually bring it to fruition and making money from that. Or ready to get out there for a person, ready, whatever it is. Everybody in this reading that's been called to pile 2 for your communication, you should know what that is. For some of you, it's buying a house or moving from the place that you are. If you're wondering if it really is the right time, or you've decided that you think it's the right time, but you don't really know how to move forward, we're going to help you with that. First of all, let's be clear. This is your reasoning. You're being told that, take that risk. Absolutely. Listen to your intuition, take that risk. The time is right. Whatever you have on the table, X, Y, and Z, should I be doing it? The answer is yes, move forward. Now, for those of you who are like, I don't really know the next step though. I don't know what to do. You really do know what to do, because you know how it is to take risks. It's just that you've done that on higher stakes before. All you need to do is pull in the same energy that you had before and put it into what you're doing. Now, the universe doesn't see small or high stakes. You know, as we say, if you ask for $1 million versus $10,000, the universe doesn't really see a difference at all. The difference is whether you believe that the $10,000 is reasonable for you, or you can get the $1,000,000. It's about how you align your energy with what it is that you're asking for. They don't care what you ask for. The universe is there to meet you halfway. I heard somebody say the other day, I love this, when you sort of align with your energy, you put your hand up for a high five, and the universe has no choice but to come back with that high five because you put your hand up. So you've just done this on bigger stakes before, but you apply the same energy to what you're doing here. Now, it doesn't feel as though it's the same because before you put everything in, right? Because it was bigger. But you put everything in for this too. It's exactly the same. So believing that you, first of all, you've been given the road ahead. This is the right time for you. This is absolutely the right time. And regardless of when you get this reading, if you're getting it sort of immediately as it's uploaded, then you'll be coming into the full moon in Scorpio, which is early next week, Monday or Tuesday for some of you, Monday for us. So where I live in the world. So you can work with this energy, and we've already said, you can definitely work with candle magic for bringing in and aligning your energy further in what it is that you want to do. But the universe is saying the time is right. The time is absolutely right for you to do this. For laws of attraction, believing that you absolutely deserve what it is that you've asked for, and also be clear about what it is that you've asked for. Some of you have not asked for enough. You've asked for what you think you can get versus what you truly want. The universe wants to give you what you truly want. So you have time now before the full moon, or work with whatever phase of the moon that you want to really sit down and to really figure out what it is that you absolutely want. Allow yourself to delve deep and say, this is what I really want. Now, for some of you, the practical mind is saying, no, I totally understand that, but I don't want to put all my eggs in one basket in something that's out there, that's woo-woo. I want to go for something that I can absolutely believe that I can bring in. Isn't that part of the process? If I believe I can bring it in, then I'm in alignment. And yeah, in theory, yes, but you're still working from the mindset of limitation. Ask for what it is that you want deeply and truly. Believe that you deserve to get it, and then say to the universe, I have no idea how this is going to be delivered. All of the magic that's happened in my life. I mean, if I had sat it, and I'm a writer, I mean, I create worlds for a living. I mean, and I still couldn't come up. I still couldn't tell you how this stuff could come. I mean, it's beyond magical. Everything comes into place, and you never in a million years, even as a writer, could I have imagined that it would have happened that way? And it's not up to you to figure it out and break it down. And in fact, if you try to go in there and say, well, this needs to happen first, and then I don't know how it can happen if I don't pay off this bill or this, that, and the other, you're just getting in the way of the energy. Let the magic happen. That's not to say that we're not asking you to take an active role. Of course, take an active role, move forward, but meet the energy of the universe instead of railroading the energy, trying to control the outcome, by being diplomatic or by being pragmatic. And we say that because being pragmatic when it comes to getting what you want sometimes just gets in the way. So for those of you who are being called to, there's a reading that I put up recently. It's only a couple back. You can go back and find it. It's not an old reading. It's an abundance reading, and it's working with law of attraction. If you haven't gone to that reading yet, and you haven't been a part of that reading, I really do suggest that you do, and I really hope that you do. Not only will it give you more clarity about the specifics of where you are, but it actually, each pile, based on the energy that comes up, really gives you an idea of practicality with that mindset, how you can actually work with laws of attraction. And there's so many different ways to work with it. And there's a lot of information about law of attraction all over the place, and on YouTube it's saturated with law of attraction, and some of it works and some of it doesn't. None of it's wrong necessarily. The information isn't wrong. Some of it's somewhat outdated, and some of it's woo-woo, some of it's obvious, and some of it's wonderful to be in and around, because what it does, it lifts your frequency, and from there you can see things a little bit more clearly and move forward. But will it actually bring in the laws of attraction the way that it's saying? No, it'll just pull up your frequency. But these are practical tips based on each pile that you can go through, and it's actually more, it is a reading, but it's more of a sort of a breakdown of how to. So if your intuition is telling you to go and do that, that could really help you. And again, if I remember, I will list it down below, so you can in the down below with all of everything else that's listed down there, so you can get to it really quickly and click on. So let's see what we have here too. So this is a very exciting time for you, and we certainly don't want you to get overwhelmed in any way. And again, the communication that you have and the focus that you have is exemplary. And you've been working with your guides in sort of, for a lot of you, in a sort of a brand new way, and a very sort of clear way. So we want you to keep that up, but we want you to take that risk. Prince of Swords, absolutely. Take that truth and put it out there. For you, for a lot of you, this is extra clarity here. Okay, we got Temperance again. My goodness, absolutely beautiful. That came off in pile 1. Very different energy though. Absolute gorgeousness here. So for you, a lot of you, it's coming through the messages. Now, this is how this comes through in different ways will be different for each and every one of you, because it's a general reading, but it's about getting your truth out there. It's about speaking out and speaking up for who you are, and bringing your sense of truth. Now, a lot of you are feeling as though you don't know how to do it properly, or when you've done it in the past, you've been shut down. Some of you could even have been mocked, or this, that, and the other, or you know, you've sort of shed your light, or you've spoken your truth in certain circles that people poo-pooed it, and then you sort of came back into your shell a little bit, which is totally fine. For you, part of who you are and who you're becoming, it's about when to speak up and how to say your truth. Sometimes you kept your truth in so long that when you did, it was very passionate and overwhelmed people. And it could even sort of poke them and prod them in a way that they sort of came at you. Now, you know, your truth is universal truth. So, you know, no matter how well you articulate your truth, there's always going to be a little bit of backlash here and there. That's totally fine. But the backlash that you had before wasn't in keeping with you wanting to keep your truth out there. So for a lot of you, this listening and this risk is about being your entire self, being your authentic self, bringing your truth to the world. Now, what is hidden is being revealed is that actually, and this worked a little bit differently with pile 1 too, you actually know what your truth is. You've been working on it. You know what you stand for. You know what your truth is. It's just that it's been hidden and now it's ready to be revealed. So the way in which you articulate your truth, you're being told that it's a risk to put it out there, and that's the way that you're seeing it based on your past. Totally understandable. But, and also a lot of you are like, am I in a position to do that? Do I know enough? We know. I mean, I feel as though the people who are always talking about truth, those are the people who are really not equipped to really talk about it, right? But they get out and do it, and, you know, honestly, pardon my French, but fair fucks to them. They have a right to their opinion. They have a right to their own truth. I mean, it's usually filtered through their own understanding, which can be somewhat limited, but they're entitled to it. So are you. Your truth is connected to universal truth. There are many different versions of truth, but when we're clear about that, the channeling that we get can be very clear. Whereas the channelings that we get, you know, even as channelers, it's channeled through our own positions, our own prejudices, our own versions of reality, our own versions of truth, our own short-sightedness, our own ignorance, our own all sorts of things. If you are clear in who you are, the channeled messages that are coming through, the universal truth that's coming through you, comes through so much clearer from the universe. And it's less about you filtering it. It's more about the clarity that it is that you can distribute. And this is what you're ready to do. So you may not feel as though, a lot of you may not feel as though, you either not feel as though you're ready because you don't know if people are going to listen, or you have enough knowledge to be out there. But we can assure you have the clarity to be able to get out there and show your truth. But your truth is connected to your authenticity. There are a lot of you who have shoved down aspects and parts of yourself. just to sort of fit in and survive. And you don't want to fit in and survive anymore. You want to thrive. And in order to thrive, you need to throw off all those identities that you felt as though you needed to bring in order to move forward. Now you never really even fit in anyway. But this is a stage for you. This is a beautiful time for you to create the world that you want in this world by being you and unapologetically you, which means bringing your truth to the surface, articulating it, communicating it, but with this version of temperance that you have. Whereas before you were so energized and passionate, and sometimes the truth would come out really, like even violently somehow, not physically necessarily, because you dumbed it down. And and all of those times that you did that is totally fine. But it's all about surrendering to the process of bringing it to the forefront. You know when to speak up, how to speak up, how to articulate, again, working with truth, with the universe working through you. So you really are moved to say the right thing at the right time. And again, having those boundaries, it doesn't matter if other people don't agree with you. It's not about agreeing. It's about bringing the truth, humanity, humility, beauty, bringing the truth. And of course, the real truth is that there are many different truths. And, all of the one truth, the universal truth, includes every other truth. And to be accepting of everybody else's version of it. And hopefully, we can all get to the same place in the end, and some of us won't, and that's okay. It just has to be okay. Not in a selfish, egotistical way, but we're concentrating on you and what we can do to help you and secure that foundation for yourself. So you're being assured at this time, without a shadow of a doubt, that this is your time to take this risk. Now, we said at the beginning, it's a relatively small risk based on what you've done before. But for some of you, it doesn't feel like it's a small risk, because you've been teetering on the point of working with this, and it encompasses so much more. It encompasses your relationship to yourself, relationship to your beauty, accepting all aspects of yourself, accepting your authentic self without dumbing yourself down or hiding aspects of yourself that may have been deemed quirky or too innocent, too naive. For some of you, too emotional. How many times have you been told that, Paul? Too emotional, too sensitive. But bringing that in as your superpower, shining light on it, and really standing behind it and saying, this is my truth, this is who I am. So it's about bringing your authenticity to the table and saying, this is exactly who I am. You accept me, or honestly, F off. That's just the way it is. You're entitled to your own opinion, but I'm not changing myself in any way to get any kind of acceptance on the outside, on the external world. The acceptance comes from you. Now, you've done a hell of a lot of work on this. So you are ready to go out there to be authentic and to do whatever you want to do. And if those ideas that you had that seemed a little bit outside of the box, but you didn't know how you were going to make them happen before, this is a time to act on all of those little things, be those business ideas, or again, for some of you, it's physically moving from the space that you're in. Now, that could be physically moving, like, a really dramatic or drastic kind of change in how you look and what you're doing. Really changing your external to meet the internal you. Whatever it is that you're doing, it seems big, but this is your time to do it. And again, work with the law of attraction, work with your own energy and abundance. You absolutely deserve this. This is your time, and the universe will work with you. Again, remember, alignment, not controlling. Allow the universe to do its magic. Whereas before you blocked some of that energy, but that was okay, because this was an essence of divine timing. You didn't necessarily feel as though you were quite in the right place to pull off this authentic move into the world, or pull it off completely. Now, you could have, but that's the way that you felt, and the way that you felt created your reality. So it was absolutely right for the time. So we're not going to say that you were wrong or right. We can't. So let's get you a little bit more, but you have the temperance, you have that confidence in yourself now. That confidence is seen from who you are, just sort of from that lowly place or that lonely place of just being you. A lot of you are looking for your soul tribe too. You have aspects of them. It's not like you don't have people, but bringing you into your soul tribe, putting yourself out there in that way and bringing in this new sense of real innate connection that you were born to have as you put out your beautiful authentic self without any qualms whatsoever and without needing to narrow your experience of who you are. Yes, not everybody will like it, but then they'll see who you are almost immediately and go, not for me, and they'll click out. Great. But what happens is that you have a clear path to attract in your soul family who are there to support you in brand new ways that you deserve to be supported on. In you've done a lot of this work on your own. It's time for you to bridge that gap between you and others and have that connection that you've been asking for and you're ready for. And again, this new profound connection that you have with your guides, with articulation, with knowing when to speak up, what to say, the level of communication, the level of passion. You know how to speak to people. You also know how to listen. That's really important in this lifetime. Darkness. Let's see, you've got darkness. Let's show you that. It's absolutely beautiful, but it's not really darkness because that's your path and it's been lit. This path that you've been on has been a sort of a solitary path. Absolutely, and you've been working with your own fear. Now, this fear has been coming in from past lives too. This lifetime you may not have been the first lifetime that you were shunned for who you were or the wisdom that you had. You have gratitude here too. I'm going to pull out one more for you also. So this was not a small thing for you to go back and have to work with this energy. So that's why it feels like it's huge in many ways. But you've been listening to yourself and you've been trusting yourself. And you got to work from beyond the ego. A lot of people, when they say their truth, they're still working from the ego. That's it, the message. You're working from the messages of truly working with the universe, and it's not from the ego, and it's not presenting the old way of doing things, the old sort of stature of very limiting ways of the ways that we have for truths and realism that we have in society today. Everything goes beyond gender, everything goes beyond all of this. Truth goes beyond all of that. It doesn't section people into piles of you're this and you're this and you're this. So a lot of people who are coming out with truth, they're still stuck in that sort of perception of you're this, I'm right, you're wrong. Universal truth is beyond that. There's no right or wrong. It's still working in an essence of polarity. So you've been working very graciously with your guides to be able to understand that on a preliminary level from your ego yourself, so you can see it in other people. When other people say this is the truth and you go, there's something up there. It's not for me. You go be you, but that's not me. That's not me. And this has brought up fear in you. You've gone in, you've excavated, you've worked through all of that fear, and you moving forward to come out of this darkness. Now, the darkness that you're in, again, it's not really darkness, but it could be perceived as darkness. Your path is lit, but because you're doing all of this work on your own, that's why the risk to take that leap. Once you take that leap and you accept yourself sort of publicly, in a way, you've accepted yourself from behind doors, closed doors. If you accept yourself publicly and put yourself out there, then again, the people will fall away that you've grown out of anyway, in circumstances you've grown out of anyway, and it'll pull in your soul family that sense of connection that brings you in and brings you closer to who you are, brings you closer to what you're supposed to do, and brings you closer to that connection of who you are and that peaceful feeling. Now, the fear you've already gone through, and you're very grateful, most of you are very grateful you're on the other side of that for what you've been through, because it's not for the faint-hearted. A lot of people don't have the courage for the kind of work that you've done on yourself, especially working with the ego. The ego tells you all sorts of things, including you are going to die if you let me go. And that's just not true. In a way, it's true. In essence of you needed to die off, but it's not in a physicality, in a physical way. In fact, the ego can actually put you in dangerous situations by telling, just one more, you'll be fine, this, that, and the other. But you've worked with the ego, you've extracted it, you've honed in on, you know how it works. You know the difference between the ego, people speaking from the ego or the need to be right, and you know the difference between allowing in all versions of reality, but also being very clear about how to get into the version that is universal truth, that includes everything. Sort of like a crystal when you see all the rainbows coming in, but in the middle of it, it's see-through. So this is your time to move forward. This is your time to move forward in your authentic ways. This is also time to have a practical hold on what that is, going after that love that you want, putting forward your truth through anything. For some of you, it's academia. For some of you, it's for creative elements. For some of you, it's that business idea. For some of you, it's getting out of the town that you live in and moving. And this is the right time to make a brand new start. And again, the universe, the collection of memories that you have and move through, the connection that you have with the communication with the universe now will bring in that magic and allow it to happen. You've got to take that risk first. You've got to take the leap first. Put up your hand for the universe to give you that high five. You are absolutely ready to do this. So let's get you a star seeds. And again, don't forget, if you want to take in a little extra magic, feel free to do that. Candle magic if you want. You know, there's a million and one ways to do candle magic. You don't have to have a yellow candle. I always have white candles in the house, and then I project the image or the color we want. And the way that I do it too, you can carve even with your nails, because that's personal. Words, sigils. If you want a house, you can draw on a house with your nail. Whatever it is that you're doing, just to give a little extra oomph. And work with the full moon if you're coming into it, or whichever moon that you want. Whatever phase of the moon, whenever you are listening to this. But this is definitely the right time. This is time for you to shine, pile 2. It's a very exciting time. We're just giving you that beautiful sort of green light. Go, go, go. But you should be feeling it already if this is resonating with you. Ha ha! Advancement. A strong energy is propelling you forward. Follow the stirrings of your heart. Again, always listen to your heart-filled center. Your mind sometimes goes with the ego. It sometimes goes with the practicality. There's nothing wrong with practicality. There's nothing wrong with any of action moving forward. But setting back into your heart-filled space, that will tell you the truth of how to move forward and what you're doing. And then from that, as you're open, you bring in the practical, the divine masculine aspects of action and how to move forward with the clarity of your mind of your mind center connected to your heart center. So this is absolutely telling you the time is right for the advancement. It's absolutely right. And because the timing is right, all you need to do is step into that power. You've done the work. Don't go down that rabbit hole of doing all sorts of extra things. Remember, just elicit that power putting out, and the universe will absolutely meet you halfway. Congratulations, Pal 2. For you moving forward on whatever degree. It could be many different things moving forward, but this is a very exciting time for you. You're absolutely ready. Do not hold yourself back. Do not hold your beautiful truth back. You're absolutely ready to put yourself out there. And one other thing too, if you're not feeling as though you have the right education or you have the right to kind of be out there, we want to remind you that the temperance is around you. As you get out there and you put out your authentic self, you are still growing and moving forward. This is not like, all right, here I'm here. I'm not going to grow anymore. This is it. You know, it's just a matter of putting yourself out there 100%, integrating, getting that connection and growing from there. So there's never a right or wrong time to do that, but you're definitely even sort of nudged toward the edge to be able to encourage to do this now. But you don't, you know, if you feel as though you need a little bit more of this, that, and the other, you'll be able to get that as you go out into the world and discover who you are. We're just asking you not to do it behind closed doors anymore, to do it. Take in that energy, put it out into the world, because we need you as you are. Yes, you are going to get better and bolder and all sorts of things, absolutely. But you know, the time has come to put yourself out there. So just to be clear on that before we move forward. So wonderful, wonderful stuff. Go be you. Go put out your truth out there. Pal 2, please stay safe and sane. Sending you so much love and abundance and beauty, Pal 2. And do not forget to check out the law of attraction, or the, what is it? The abundance reading, if you want to get a little extra clarity, or you just want a little extra information, if you're called to, go check that out. Until we meet again, Pal 2, stay safe and sane. Bye-bye. Hello there, Pal 3. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Do not forget we have our candle here. If you want to use it as a way of healing, you're welcome to do that. It has magic oil upon it. This is your spell candle for blue, for valor, for beauty, for healing too, on many, many different levels. And as we've suggested, you can always do a blue candle too, coming into any phase of the moon. We're actually physically coming into a full moon coming in early next week in Scorpio. So that's something that you can do. You can always put carven sigils with your fingernails too, or words or images, anything that you want. It doesn't have to be a blue candle. It could be a white candle, any candle that you have. But if you want to access more of your own energy and more of your own power, you can work with this energy of what will come up here with your own power and your own magic. So again, messages from the House of Light Oracle. What is hidden will be revealed. So let's see what we have here. Ooh, we have denial and invisible. Okay, so we have a few things. And what is hidden being revealed has come up a little bit differently for each of the piles. So denying the light and also keeping yourself invisible to pile 3 so you can stay safe. Now we want to be really clear about how this works too. For some of you, if not most of you, and in some cases we would say with all of you, staying small and staying invisible sometimes is really important, right? Not only does it keep you safe, but actually it's a way for you to sort of understand and even predict what will happen in and around you. So this is something that you've needed to do. So sometimes not necessarily being small, making yourself small in that space, because that means that you're denouncing aspects of yourself, but keeping yourself invisible, keeping yourself on the sidelines, but looking in, but having a different kind of activation, activating yourself within that, within your world a little bit differently, where you can protect yourself and see what's going on. Again, there's nothing wrong with that. So what this reading is about, though, is what you've done as the next step in the past is that you denied aspects of yourself in order to fit in. And you've gotten so used to being invisible, sort of on the outskirts, looking in, observing, you're forever the observer, that now you're being asked to really integrate into the world and get that sense of connection that you absolutely deserve out there, because you've been doing everything on your own, and you've been doing everything sort of you've always done things sort of the hard way, but you've learned that way, and you've always done things, you're ultra independent. Some of you were in a position where you needed to be ultra independent. There were not a lot of people necessarily around you that you could absolutely trust. Or for some of you, you were in a position where there were a lot of people on the outskirts that you could trust, but you would end up with people that you couldn't trust. And that's because you were working through old karma that you brought in from past lives, but also with this lifetime, that you may have had sort of your immediate family, the people that were immediately around you. They may not have been bad or terrible or anything like that, but they may not have seen you for who you were. So there was an aspect of, for some of you, a shutting down of protection. So you needed to do a certain amount in order to protect yourself, and being invisible gave you a certain amount of autonomy on your own. You got to be in your own world, and all of that is wonderful. But in that, as you got older and as you sort of started to integrate sort of in the world, but again on your own terms, you kept up with this behavior, and that denied aspects. This is just real talk, pal 3, but you're ready to get through this. This is totally fine. And it's also a beautiful way of doing it, in a way, because a lot of us do it. It's a mechanism for survival. And a lot of us do it. And the beauty of the way in which you've done it is because you've hidden and sort of hidden your inner child in a way, or your naivety, and you've locked them away at certain times and brought them out because you've had to protect them. But because you've protected your inner child, there's a sense of wonder and a sense of beauty that you actually have to you that's not been tainted, that's been tainted with people who full-fledged sort of integrated into the world and then and become quite bitter by it, which is totally understandable, right? Again, no judgment. But you've kind of done things in the opposite way. You sort of dipped your toe in, oh, no, not just yet. I'm not going to get in just yet. And you've done that. And it's kind of a beautiful thing to do in the way in which you've observed life and the way in which you've protected yourself. You've protected that inner child. And that inner child, once integrated, has this beautiful way of being in the world, believes in magic, believes in integration, believes in gorgeousness, and has the mindset to actually rally you forward into this magical life. Now, a lot of people go on about like abundance and law of attraction and this, that, and the other. But the one thing that people really don't touch on in many ways is, in order for you to have a magical life, you have to have a magical sensibility. You have to believe that it's possible. You have to believe that you deserve it. You have to believe that it's possible. Right? And a lot of people don't. They let their practicality get in there. It's like, oh, I do want this and I'm willing to work hard for it. A lot of people put a lot of action into it and work too hard for it in some ways, because they're spending a lot of their action time sort of blocking the universe, sort of helping them out, because I'm doing this. I'm going to I'm going to tick it off my list, and I've got this, and at the end of this I'm going to get that. And there's nothing wrong with that. But, for you want a magical life. You can have a magical life, but you have to have a magical mindset. And without having a magical mindset, it makes everything a lot more difficult anyway. But it makes sort of the abundance that you want, and the sort of laws of attraction, all of that attraction energy makes that very difficult. We often get in our own way because we're not allowing things to happen. So again, the difference between control versus alignment. But you've kind of put away your inner child there, kind of locked them up, put them out a little bit. Sometimes they got hurt, sometimes you put them back, but you've been protected them. But what you've been doing, you've been preserving your inner child. So you have this beautiful magical sensibility. Now, you know this about yourself. So that's another reason why you want to stay a little bit more protected, because it doesn't feel as though in the actuality of the world that there's a time for magic, that there's a place for magic right now. But we can assure you, out of any other time, this is the time to bring your magic forward. This is the time that we need the magic the most. And you would be in a position, once that inner child is integrated fully, to keep that magic very much within you, instead of pulling it back and locking her up or locking them up. It doesn't really matter, because your inner child's been preserved. So once it's integrated fully, you'll remain in that magical site, have that magical beauty within you, that hindsight. So it's time for you to integrate back into the world one way or another. And it's time for you to bring back aspects of yourself that you dumbed down, or that you hid a little bit in order to protect yourself. And again, we want to be really clear. For you, it was probably very, very important for you to do it this way. A lot of you, because you are overseers, because you are you do work on the observational realm, you would be excellent writers, photographers, directors, all of that stuff. Anything where it would be where you're observing and then making notes. Researchers, even like nurses, or working in the medical field one way or another, or aspects of holistic medicine. Because you're working with aspects of information on the outside, listen to your intuition, and then integrating the knowledge. So all of this is something that you've been working on. A lot of you will be avid readers. You want to learn more about certain things, and you may have a certain amount of knowledge about a lot of different things, and you're certainly open to learning more, forever researching, forever bringing up more knowledge. But because you've been on the outskirts for so long, there's no easy way to say it, so we're just going to say it, pardon my French. You can smell the BS from a mile away when people start saying things, and you may not even know where it's coming from, because what they're saying could feel as if, they've got everybody's, they know what they're talking about, but there's something off with the energy. I don't know, but, and then you'll get to it, and it's not what it seems. But you listen to what people say, and then you feel what they're actually saying. So you can sense BS from a mile off, from people, from situations, and sometimes you just go on this inkling. Every single one of you will have a different kind of inkling. Some of you, it'll be like this weird crawly feeling in your stomach. Sometimes it's going up the spine, from the back. There's just this uncomfortability. Some of you may feel nauseated. Some of you may feel like, something's not right here with the situation, with the person, with an opportunity, with this, that, and the other. And some of it will just be clear no. And even when people are like, I can't believe you didn't do that. I can't believe you didn't say, I can't believe you didn't go out with that guy. And then you find out, 6 months later, he was a serial killer. But, it's, people don't often understand how you do things. Or if they didn't before, they're only just coming into, oh yeah, your sensibility, you really have a gift with this. But because you've been on the outskirts, you've known how to do this. Now, part of that came from the understanding of survival mechanisms, but it doesn't matter where it came from because you're bloody brilliant at it. You're brilliant at it. When somebody comes up and says one thing or another, you know exactly where they're coming from, you know exactly what they're saying, and you know that they're full of it. And some people who are full of it, but have a little bit of an inkling of who they are, they can sense that they're full of it too. So they may react differently, but more often than not, people don't know. As I've said on this channel sort of 100 times, when you have a red flag, it's the red flag from the person putting up the red flag and a connection between you and your guides. The person that's putting up the red flag doesn't know they're doing red flags. They think they're doing great. The red flag is like your understanding of the energy that they're putting out, connecting with the messages that you're getting from the universe. So that's something that you've always had. Now, whether you've listened to those red flags or not, sometimes you've gotten the red flags, but you've gotten into the situation anyway for the experimental, getting that experience, and that's totally fine. You're not doing that so much these days, but you've done that in the past. That's fine, but you've always been the one to get those red flags. And most of the people giving off the red flags, again, really don't know that they're doing it, but they think they're, and a lot of people can believe what they're saying. I genuinely believe this, but something's gone wrong in the communication. It's not really quite right. Either way, because you've been on the outskirts, you can tell. You can tell these people, you can tell these situations, you can tell these opportunities. You've been working with healing yourself to the point where you're healing the old, because the other thing that happens is when the good things happen, pile 3, you're always wondering if the other shoe's going to drop. So, and that's the offset of being invisible, of knocking certain aspects of yourself out, of not being fully, you've been fully healed, but again, keeping yourself invisible, keeping yourself at arm's length from people, even people, for some of you, this may not be for all of you, but for some of you, even when you are intimate with people, there's always an aspect of yourself that you keep for yourself. Now, there's nothing intrinsically wrong with that. I'm not saying you have to be an open book. I mean, I'm a Scorpio ascendant. I have my own way of doing things. I certainly have secrets, and they're going to remain secrets. That's fine. I don't feel as though I need to know absolutely everything about everybody that comes in. I would say that to a certain extent, I'm an open book, and in some ways I'm not. And that's okay. That doesn't mean that I'm not open. But for you, it's the same thing. It's that aspect of not being open. You can still be open and let people in. It's just a matter of letting people in. You're at that stage where you are being offered right now a new way to be in the world, a new way to connect with people, and a new level of intimacy on all levels and all structures of your life, be that spiritual, physical. This is your time for you to do that. And for you to, again, there was an essence of coming into your authenticity. Very different energy. If you do feel like you're being drawn to pile 2, go back and listen to pile 2 again. You may get something out of it. Very different energy, but it really is about pulling in all aspects of the parts of yourself that you denied before for a very good reason, but pulling them in and really going for them, because some of you have dumbed down your humor. Some of you have a really quirky way of being in the world, quirky way of dressing, and dumbing that down. And it's not that you were necessarily afraid of what people thought of you. It was just a matter of protection. You had to figure out the world first, and in order to figure out the world, you wanted to do it on your own terms. You took yourself out of it a little bit so you could observe and figure it out. And that was very successful for you. Again, pile 3, you got this. Integrating yourself back into the world. You may have been a little bit quirkier before. Your sense of humor may have been a little bit dark before. It's not like you've never displayed this. You may have been a little bit quirkier in the way that you dressed. And, for me, it takes a lot for me to think that someone's quirky. Like, oh, wow. Because I've been around quirky people my life. A lot of people think I'm quirky. But, the way in which you dress, just sort of... harnessing, your attributes, who you are, and displaying that on the outside for the world to see. So let's get you a little extra information here. This is a very exciting part of you to be integrated. And again, that beautiful, wondrous side of you from your inner child integrating fully. And it's really safe for your inner child to come out and be integrated full-time, be employed full-time by you, right? That's what we're saying. So we have the 10 of Swords here. And what do we have? Yes, the Prince of Pentacles. Okay, so the Ten of Swords, absolutely. Doing this very much again on the outskirts, but really sort of honing in and figuring out what it is that you believe in. And a lot of the mistakes that you've made have been out in the world, but a lot of the mistakes that you've made have sort of been, sort of hidden, and that's fine too. But a lot of like what you fought for, and who you are, and the way in which you react, and react is the best word to use here, is shorter. It's shifting, and it's moving, and there's more confidence in it before where there wasn't. So it's really a matter of sort of seeing how people do things and how people fight for things. And again, as we said in Pal 2, there is a time for fight. There's definitely a time to stand your ground. There's nothing passive about what we're saying about how you have the right to be in the world. But there also is a time when you're fighting. You're fighting against yourself. You're fighting in certain situations, and you're using your energy where people are just, it's going to fall on deaf ears. So exposing yourself to that way of doing things, and having this understanding of this real calm beauty, this real self-assurance, where it's not in your best, you don't have to, the way in which you're delivering your messages, the way in which you are in the world, you don't need to be accepted by everyone in order to be who you are. There's a shift in that. You've accepted yourself, you're ready to be who you are, and in fact you're expecting a certain amount of resistance, but you know how to deal with that resistance. You're not seeing that as disappointment. You're not running back and being disappointed by it or being hurt by it. But for you, it's about when there's action, when you move forward, when you stand up, when you fight. And again, you have that very much in common with Paul too, but again, very different energy. And how to move forward and feel as though you're making your way in the world on your own terms. This is it. When you're on the sidelines, you're not really you're doing things on your own terms, absolutely, but there's a price to pay. You're not out there in the way that you want. You're not making those connections and feeling that connection in the way that you want. People who are just like you aren't able to find you as easily, but you're still fighting, you're still out there, you're still holding that ground, and you're still in and around that energy of people who don't get you, who are still sprouting the BS, which again is their right to do. Who cares? But you're still up against that, instead of having that beautiful essence of that balance of others coming in for you, and providing that soul beauty of, we've got you, we see you, don't mind them. You've been doing all of this work and taking on all of this work on your own, and you're well able for it, Pal 3. There's no two ways about it. But you're being asked to, I guess again, Pal 2, to take that risk and integrate fully into that world, and bring that magical, beautiful integration thought of the thoughtful thinking of your divine masculine and feminine balance, which comes to fruition through your inner child, to be able to create all of the physicality, create that intricate, beautiful reality that you absolutely want. There's only a certain amount of you that can be able to do that and have it at a successful level, while still trying to deny aspects of yourself and still trying to stay invisible. So let's see what we have here too. Get you a little bit more information, but this is a beautiful time for you. You are ready to get out there and to provide that life that you want. And really, for a lot of you who have asked, you've been very clear about what it is that you want. Even if there's a little shrouding of the details, you don't know what it'll look like, or, I want a brand new house, I don't know what it'll look like. You get lost a little bit in the details. The specifics of what you've wanted since you were a kid. So you're very much in touch with what it is that you want to achieve in this lifetime. And you've been working actively, regardless on the sidelines or not, you've been working very actively toward that. You've just been doing things very differently. Now, you'll always do things very differently. You're very much the sort of person that does things off the beaten path. People very often work in a linear fashion, A, B, C, D. There's nothing wrong with that. And it seems that they've achieved things a little bit quicker and maybe a little bit easier, this, that, and the other than you have, because they've done it in a linear fashion. There's nothing wrong with that at all. You live spherically, though. You go in any different direction, and you've gone this and that and A to Z to F to, but the way in which you've done things is not necessarily a bad way. And for you, it's been in a wonderful way. So for you to, to in any way compare yourself to anybody who's gone in a linear fashion, that's not going to work for you. So just accepting yourself where you are, who you are, the way that you've done it, and accept that you might always be that person that moves forward in that way. There may be aspects of your life where it seems like you are moving rather linear, but then at the last minute you'll veer off and go in a different direction. You've always thought outside of the box. You've always done things outside of the box. Now, we don't expect that to change. The world needs that iconography. They need that icon, that person that is you, to show them there are many different ways to do, there's many different ways to be, and that's part of your authenticity. Now, you didn't know how to necessarily, you didn't want to include yourself into aspects of everyday life and the way that people did things, so that's why you kept yourself on the outside. But now, taking that risk and integrating fully, you can be who you are and still go off in different ways. You're just doing it integrated into the life that you want fully, which means that you get the results that you want fully. You get that connection, that level of intimacy that's heightened. You get everything that you want with a greater amount of ease. And when you speak through your authentic eyes, through your authentic mouth, who you are, you draw more people to you. You're not constantly fighting within yourself or outside of yourself with people who are just, again, let them be like that, but it's just like having that joy of laughing it off. Bless them, instead of taking that on. It's almost like for some of you, you take on every single person that has an ideology that's sort of way off, but they think they're right, still stuck in the polarity. But it's not that you want to change them. You want them to be okay. You want the world to be okay, and then you'll be okay. You've got to be okay first, and then work into how the world is going to be okay. That shift in perception. It's almost like for some of you, it's like, I'm not going to rest until everybody is sort of, everybody's looking after each other. Everybody is a humanitarian. We're all treating each other properly. We're all seeing each other how we are. You have this sort of beautiful essence to you that's absolutely gorgeous, and it's really pure of heart. And there's a reason why you would have protected that. But the way in which you're going to get that life that you want, the way in which you're going to see that beauty everywhere, is for you to integrate yourself into that world and accept where people are at that time. And we're absolutely moving toward it, but as we move toward it, there's going to be some messiness. Absolutely, change. That's an obvious one. We already knew that. Boundaries. Now, this is something that you needed to learn. And ironically enough, you did learn boundaries by actually being on the outskirts. You really did. You don't have to learn those boundaries by being fully incorporated into the world. So this is boundaries that you've had to learn too, not taking on other people's energies. Where somebody else starts, you begin. But it's really about what is hidden. What has been hidden is you, aspects of you, bringing that out, and then having the good fortune to be like, some of you are so open that it's just like, yeah, everybody's entitled to their own opinion, but you don't need to take it on. You don't need to take on their point of view. You can have those boundaries and say, no, that I'm sorry. No, just no, I'm not doing this. This is something that you've done. So you can absolutely trust yourself to integrate fully and go get that life that you want. You've put so much energy into knowing what you want, and coming back into knowing who you are and full acceptance of who you are, and then being accepted the way that you want to be seen, and the way in which you move, and the way in which, seeing those successes, some of them small as they build, and then bigger successes as you get out there, and really seeing what you want to happen come to fruition. And this is something that it's within reaching moments. You're knocking on the door and the universe wants to open it for you. But again, you've got to open that door first and move through it. And you're absolutely ready to do this. And again, it will all be on your own terms because you've decided how to work with it. A lot of this is like how to play the game. You didn't want to play the game. You pulled yourself out of the game. But while you pulled yourself out of the game, you observed how the game is played. Now, when you go in to play the game, you're no longer playing the game because you know how it works. You're beyond the game, right? But that's being beyond the game, is that how you get what it is so that you want. So if you put out a lot of energy and you've moved up a certain way, but things either fall apart just right at the last minute, or you're not getting quite the vavum of the of what it is that you're expecting to receive. This is the only reason why. It's not that you're not active. It's not that you don't deserve it. You do believe that you deserve it. It's not like you're not talented. It's not like the universe doesn't want to reward you. It's just that the universe can't give you what you want. And really what you want is to be seen. The universe can't give you what you want, is to be seen properly for who you are, unless you put yourself in a position to be seen for who you are. So step into that risk. And this is your time for moving forward. Again, on your own terms. You've done all of the work yourself. You're ready to do this without a shadow of a doubt. And this is a very exciting time for you. It really is. And you've been working towards this time your entire life, one way or another. So a lot of rewards for you on the other side of that door, and very little. Don't go down that rabbit hole. I need to do this first. I need to heal this. I need to heal that. Not big on the word healing anyway, because the minute we say that we need to heal something, it means that something is wrong. We need to shine light on certain aspects of ourselves. Certainly need to accept certain aspects of ourselves, give ourselves some room to be able to work optimally within ourselves and however we're doing. Absolutely. But we don't necessarily need to use the word healing. But don't go down the rabbit hole anyway of I need to sort this out first. I need to do this. You have done this painstakingly difficult work of pulling apart and doing all of that your entire life. All you need to do is step forward and have that confidence, get that joy and that beauty back, and integrate that beautiful inner child once and for all, and move forward the way that you want, and go get the results that you've been putting all of that effort into. That's how it's almost like you did the race, you ran the race, you won, but you don't want to go and show up and pick up your diploma or your medal or whatever it is, because you don't want people to take pictures of you. You don't want to be in the newspaper. It's like you've already won. Go get that medal. Go get that payoff. So this one for you, reflection. Okay. See also aspects of yourself through the reflection of the one who mirrors your hidden self. So bringing all aspects of yourself out into the open, with the understanding that you accept every part of yourself without any shadow of a doubt, and just put it out there. And you've got your boundaries intact. You know how people operate. It's totally fine. Let them go. Shine that beacon light. Go get shine it so all of those people who are supposed to be in and around you, I'm getting called to do one more for you, can find you, and you can absolutely get those payoffs. You've done so much. You have so much creativity, so much beauty sort of dripping from your fingertips. Be great if that could be integrated into the world, right? Channel. You are a channel through which healing and energy reaches the world. Absolutely. And this is the way that you're going to do it. To be the incredible power that you are, there's only a certain amount that you'll be able to do behind those closed doors. This is the time. You have the integration, you have the knowledge, you have the courage, you have the strength to do it. And also you have the autonomy to do it. You have the strength to say, no, this is who I am. I'm not changing. You also have been working with your guides. They absolutely know who they are, so they can support you in the most clarity-filled way to move you forward, to give you all of the space that you need to be able to do this. But this is you stepping up into who you're meant to be. And again, go get that diploma. Go get that. I keep thinking Stanley Cup. I don't know what that is. Is that for golf or something? Go get that medal. That's the way that you're going to see all of these payoffs that you've been planting and you've been seeding to on the outskirts looking in. This is the time. So there's not a lot of active work for you to do. All you have to do is integrate yourself into the world and just watch the magic happen. Remember, integrate that full-time magical aspect coming from your inner child that you no longer need to protect, because your boundaries are full and they know how to work, and use them often until you no longer need to use them. And you are ready for this. This is a beautiful time for you. Go be you on all of your terms, all of your own terms, and go get the life that you absolutely want. It's right there. It's actually there. All you have to do is see it and reach for it. There's nothing to do. It's just there. So we sincerely hope that resonated with you. Pile 3, gorgeousness, sending you so much love and light. Absolutely. We want to thank all of our guides today with staying with us. Stay safe and sane. And until we meet again, sending you so much love, so much love. Take care. Bye-bye.